spoilers, because, yeah. Interior, my living room. Sometime in 2020. I want to say March? Ugh, there's nothing to watch. Wait, what's this? Huh. VHS. Weird. Meh, I guess I'll put it on, but it doesn't really look like much. Huh. Okay, so the VHS movies are pretty cool. In fact, they have been my favorite movie franchise for about 3.5 years now. And I feel like I know the movies pretty well. So well, in fact, that I bet I could rank every segment from all 6 movies. I've watched each movie countless times and feel like I have a fresh view on the quality of these films. Now, I realize this has, for the most part, been done before. I've scoured YouTube for other rankings and I've watched quite a few, and I must say, they're all wrong. All of them. Every single one. Wrong. If you made a VHS segment ranking and you're not me, then you made a stupid ranking of stupidity-ness. Obviously, my opinion is fact. I am judge, jury, and executioner. I won't be explaining the plots of most of these, because I imagine if you're watching this, you've seen the movies. Plus, this video is long enough. And without further ado, let's do this. Don't let that title fool you. Many of the segments in this list are not bad. Heck, some of them are even kind of enjoyable. But unfortunately, in a list as jam-packed as VHS, these segments just feel weaker comparatively. Also, some of them are really shit. Like, shockingly bad. Let's talk about them.
Peter, don't. They say if you watch that video, you die.
Ah, that's a lot of baloney.
See something unbelievable, but you have to believe it because it's right there in front of your eyes.
Holy crap, Lois. Dante the Great is terrible. Anyway, Dante truly is one of the greatest magicians of our generations, because he just makes all the entertainment disappear. This segment is so bad that I almost left it off the list, just out of pure disrespect to its creation. That, and it's just simply not a VHS segment. It may be in a VHS movie, but this is the furthest thing from a found footage film I've ever seen, especially in the climax. You expect the audience to believe a documentary crew got all of those angles, all of those shots. Fuck that. Just because you shake the camera a little bit does not make it a found footage movie. And how is it that this is in the 3rd movie, and yet it has some of the worst visuals in the entire franchise? Just look at this shit. I've seen iOS games with better visuals than this. Dante the Great somehow pulls off getting just about every single thing wrong, but its biggest crime, without a doubt, is that it's really, really not scary. And that would be okay if it was at least funny, or dramatic, or in some way entertaining, but it's not. It is a worthless viewing experience, and I would rather just stare at a blank screen for 15 minutes than rewatch it. Congratulations, Dante. Not only are you the worst segment in Viral, but you are the worst segment in the entire franchise. 2 out of 10. Dante the Great? More like Dante the Stupid. I guarantee you that joke I just told had more thought put into it than the entire segment.
There's a snake in my pants. Why don't you try and fish it out?
Fine. I'll talk about Parallel Monsters. God, this one is so boring. It is such a waste of a genuinely good premise. I mean, it's literally about a guy going to another dimension. You could have made the dimension be anything. The sky was the limit on this. I emphasize, you could have done anything with this plot. And you chose Dick Monsters. Dick Monsters. Dick Monsters. Guys, I don't know how to tell you this, but a dick-shaped hand puppet is not scary, and it is not entertaining. They're not even presented in a shocking way, as if they were expected, which I guarantee you they were not. Honestly, this one bored the hell out of me. And when it wasn't boring, it was dumb and somewhat questionable. So yeah, 2 out of 10. Stupid Penis Monster is very stupid.
Iris, get out of the street! That's my girl! Holy shit!
This shot alone should be enough reason as to why Vicious Circles is terrible. Anyway, VHS Viral is not a very good movie. Let's see, what positives can I list about this one? Well, at some point clips from the first 2 movies flash on screen, so that was pretty cool. Made me wish I was watching those movies instead. Yeah, that's really the only part I liked. This wraparound segment somehow manages to feel way too fast-paced while still having hordes of unnecessary filler. I defy you to look at me with a straight face and tell me that the scenes with the dog in the taxi were essential to this movie's plot. There is so much random shit that happens in this segment and none of it was investing. I didn't care about the guy filming. I didn't care about the girlfriend. I didn't care about the ice cream truck that was inexplicably not taken down by the police. Seriously, how stupid are the police here? How come a couple of guys on bikes are able to catch up to the speeding ice cream truck and you can't even do as little as set up a roadblock? The main character said himself that it was going in circles. I mean, what is this, Chicago? You see, it's funny because Chicago is horrible. Honestly, this wraparound tries desperately to creep you out and leave you wanting more, but only manages to bore and confuse you. 3 out of 10.
You'll never take me alive, coppers!
Holy hell. More like, holy hell, I wish I was watching something better. Anyway, this one is trash. Seriously, what an absolute mess from start to finish. I have spent eons trying to understand what this wraparound was trying to be, and I just don't get it. We spent the whole movie of VHS 94 building up this mysterious cult involving the tapes, going through these actually pretty cool set pieces. But oh no, there was no cult. It was all just for snuff films. It was for snuff films, guys. Boy, they really pulled the rug out from under us with that one. Yep, 2 dirty cops took over a huge building, littered it with dead bodies, eyeballs, and all kinds of spooky shit, then murdered an entire SWAT team, including the commander. Not for a cult, no. It was for an even more sinister plan, making a slightly above average snuff film.
What the hell was that?
You know, just because your twist is unexpected does not make it good. And this is fucking stupid. If all the officers wanted to do was to make a snuff film, then why go through all of this trouble? There is no way they made any bang for their buck after the work it must have taken to set all of this up. Also, the acting and dialogue are,
Some help here, Nash? My camera's f***ing stuck.
well, let's just say it leaves more to be desired. The set pieces are cool, but they're not exactly utilized. It's mostly just, hey, look at that. We see something mildly creepy, then after 2 seconds, they either transition to a segment or move on to another room. But do you know what really sucks about this one? It's the wasted potential. This premise of a SWAT team raiding a cult hideout and slowly being picked off is, while simple, really cool. It could have been an awesome wraparound, but they just fumbled the ball with that stupid twist. I mean, come on guys, what happened? Was this directed by M. Night Shyamalan? This guy? Oh no, it was directed by someone named Jennifer Reeder. Or is it? Honestly, as a wraparound story, this could have been a lot worse. A lot worse. But a movie as entertaining and long awaited as VHS 94 deserved far better. 4 out of 10.
You're all gonna f***ing die up here.
What did you say, Nick?
Oh my god, you guys, it's called Tuesday the 17th. Like Friday the 13th. Do you guys get it? Holy moly, this is some nuance right here. What a subtle nod to an equally overrated movie. Anyway, this one's not very good. I can confidently say we have started to move into the more enjoyable segments in this tier, because Tuesday the 17th, without a doubt, has some good moments, like in the beginning where the camera glitches, showing the killer's previous victims. Also, while Samantha and Spider didn't add much to the story, their death scene was pretty cool. even though Spider definitely stares at Samantha far longer than any sane person would before GTFOing. That being said though, this short just misses more than it lands. The characters are likable, well, most of them, and the acting is fine. The concept of a killer who can't be filmed is not bad, and the tone fits pretty well with the other shorts in the first movie. Alas, there's just one rotten egg, one bad apple, one contaminated crop that blights the entire harvest. That crop's name is Wendy. Wendy has got to be one of the stupidest characters, not only in VHS, but that I have ever seen. She makes stupid decision after stupid decision, and it honestly ruins the entire short. The reveal that she used Joey and them as bait is cool and all, but like, why? Why does she even need them? Does the glitch only attack groups or something? I have no idea, and I doubt Wendy does either. Why would you just out of nowhere tell Joey that he and his friends are gonna die? You certainly don't gain anything, and if Joey has the slightest bit of common sense, he's gonna at least stop walking and be like, hey, what the f***? Thankfully, Joey is almost as stupid as she is, so he doesn't really do anything. Oh, and don't even get me started on Joey. Okay, actually, I kind of like Joey. He's stupid too, but at least it's funny. When he does something dumb, it's sort of comical. Hell, it's likable. When Wendy does something dumb, it makes my brain hurt from trying to process why another human being would do something so mind-bogglingly stupid. Let me elaborate. Joey is more of a, haha, he ate a tiny fish thing. That was kind of funny. Wendy is more of a, why the f*** would you run up to the killer while he has a knife? Just because he's got his foot in a bear trap doesn't mean he can't flick his goddamn wrist. Oh, and by the way, when did you set that up? Because there's no way you just hauled that in with the other camping supplies without raising some questions from your bait. Did you come back before this alone? Why didn't the glitch kill you then? Are you seriously telling me that this thing only attacks you if you're in a group? That has to be one of the worst weaknesses I have ever heard of. What a sick joke! And let's say for some godly reason, the glitch can't attack you if you're alone. Why wouldn't he just destroy the traps as soon as Wendy leaves? Oh, and let's just address the elephant in the room. Why would you even go back? You clearly were out of your element and you knew it, even if you had to go back for revenge. Why only bring bait? Hop on Reddit or 4chan or wherever, find some guys with guns who are bored, and mow this sucker down. It might not work because this guy's like omnipotent or something, but it sure is better than one fucking bear trap and a spike wall. God, Wendy is such a monster, and you guys have to believe me. You have to... It's possible that I've gone off the rails a bit. In conclusion, this short has some things going for it, and I can see that the homage came from good intentions. But unfortunately, Wendy just tears everything this short builds to the ground with a smug grin. That smug fucking grin. God, why not just do an actual homage to Friday the 13th? What does this even have in common with it? What, is it the fact they're in the woods? Is that it? Oh my lord, guys, both films have a killer in them. It's all connected. What a bunch of horseradish. And fuck you, Wendy. I know I wasn't talking about you, but still fuck you. Okay, I need to move on before I turn this whole video into a rant about Wendy. 5 out of 10. Barracuda was by far the best character. Next segment.
They're all dead. What kind of man would do this? Skateboards.
Oh my god, Bone Storm, you did it! You actually did it! You are the single best VHS segment in VHS Viral. Wow, what an accomplishment! Here's your gold star. You definitely earned it. Oh wait, actually this one sucks too. Seriously, where did the budget for Viral go? Because it is not evident in any of these shorts. Look at this fire stunt. Look at it. I often see a lot of people rank this one as the worst segment from Viral, and I completely understand why. From the uninspired plot to the high school level acting, this one is definitely not one of the greats. While the climax can be kind of fun, some parts definitely leave you a bit confused. Like, I'm pretty sure that's not how fireworks work, and this is the fakest cut off arm I've ever seen. Though I will admit, this one is kind of funny. It may be really bad at like everything it does, but I don't know, man. Something about a bunch of skateboarders fucking up an entire cult is kind of fun to watch. Mindless and lazy, sure, but still fun. It's a good kind of awful. It's at the very least somewhat refreshing to watch after having to slog through the other segments from Viral, all of which are just regular awful. So yeah, this one is still pretty bad, but I think it should be noted it's not as bad as the others. 5 out of 10. The best segment out of VHS Viral was a 5 out of 10. Huh. You know, maybe there's a reason this one killed the franchise for 7 years.
Go to hell! Trust me, I'm way ahead of you!
I shouldn't love VHS 99 as much as I do. The pacing is wonky, and the tone is completely different from that of the previous 4 movies. It's filled with jokes and tonal whiplash, and can sometimes come across as disjointed or even strung together. It is a mess of a movie, and yet somehow it works. The stories are awesome, and somehow they just fit in with each other like puzzle pieces. The tone, while different, is refreshing. Seeing the VHS franchise pull off campiness so perfectly, while still having a few good scares, legitimately puts a smile on my face. Although, that being said, I did not enjoy To Hell and Back. While I absolutely adore how fun and goofy the rest of VHS 99 can be, To Hell and Back unfortunately doesn't balance its goofiness and ranges just a bit into the too silly category. Especially the main characters. Troy and Nate react to literally being condemned to hell, as if they're filming a YouTube video. Me and my friend caught in hell 3 AM challenge. I will admit, watching this short with a group of friends can be pretty fun, but rewatching it alone for the purpose of making this video was, not as enjoyable. I mean, the practical effects were pretty good, and the set is not bad. Mabel was alright, I guess. You know, not bad. There was a line about going to hell for shoplifting at one point, which was kind of funny. Honestly, I don't know why this segment was put last. It would have been perfectly fine as the 3rd or 4th entry in 99. But as the finale of such an impossibly well-balanced movie, it just doesn't work for me. 5.5 out of 10.
Assault, theft, fraud, DUI, breaking and entering.
Tape 56 is pretty okay. It is a perfectly average wraparound story. The bad guys go to the house, they find the VHS tapes, they watch the VHS tapes, they slowly get picked off by John Goodman monster, and that's pretty much it. There's really not much to say here. I mean, it does its job perfectly adequately. It's not exactly the most memorable part of VHS 1, but it doesn't need to be. It is average, and that is fine. Good job, Adam Wingard. You made a thing. 6 out of 10.
Now what?
You want to make out?
Phase 1 clinical trials. More like Phase 1 mid-ical trials. Anyway, this one's alright. Pretty cool concept of someone's eye being the camera. Although, who in the ever-loving would ever agree to this project? Are you telling me you'd rather give the government your literal eyesight instead of just wearing an eye patch? This, along with a few other plot holes, really brings this segment down for me. For example, how come when Clarissa is attacked in the pool, suddenly we can't see the ghosts? Is it the water? Is she being attacked by ghost water? Is the pool water from beyond the grave? Because I need to know. Also, this one has a pretty big problem of just not really being that scary. I mean, it's mostly just cheap jump scares and nothing else, which is not exactly effective. Also, I'm pretty sure 2 of the ghosts are supposed to be from the car crash that cost Herman his eye. Oh yeah, by the way, this guy's name is Herman. Anyway, I really wish they had spent more time on that, if that's what they were hinting at. Really, the only reason this segment is as high as it is because Adam Wingard has some pretty funny reactions sometimes, and also the mere concept of, let's just call it the uncle scene. Every time I watch this scene, it is absolutely hilarious. For those who don't know, I'm talking about a scene where Herman and Clarissa are just talking when out of nowhere, a ghost appears in the window. Herman is startled, but Clarissa immediately takes off her shirt and just starts making out with him, telling him it'll make the ghost go away. And it works! Well, kinda. But still, Can you imagine if I did that? Just knocked on some random lady's door and was like, quick, there's not much time. We have to have sex right now or the ghosts are gonna kill us. What? One of them is my uncle and he's not nice. So you in? I just find it so stupid that I actually like it. I suppose that makes it more memorable. Without that scene, it would probably be a 5 out of 10, but since it brought me some chuckles, I decided to move it up to a 6 out of 10. It is unfortunately the worst segment in VHS 2, but then again, this is VHS 2 we're talking about. That's like saying which gold coin in the treasure chest is the least shiniest. Congrats, Adam Wingard. You made a thing. Again.
I accidentally knocked SpongeBob's toothbrush into the toilet, and then I put it back on the counter without washing it. Confess me.
Second Honeymoon is not bad. Not great either, but not bad. It's definitely one of the more unique segments in the franchise, seeing as it's pretty much the only one that could actually happen in real life. Which does give it that extra bit of creepiness. The acting's good, especially the awkward scenes, like when Sam accuses Stephanie of taking $100 out of his wallet and then not believing her when she denies it. It is rough to watch, but in a good way. The final scene is effective because it comes out of almost nowhere. Oh shit. The killer and Stephanie were lovers? That's something I should have seen coming, but did not see coming. You see this, Jennifer Reeder? If that even is your real name. That's how you do a well foreshadowed twist. Also, how did you get in my house? But for every effective scene, there is unfortunately another scene that's really nothing but filler. Which isn't inherently bad, but upon rewatching can make the viewing experience feel a little sluggish. But as a segment, it is overall perfectly fine, and does a great job calming the audience down after the horrors of the segment before this one, which we'll get to later. But yeah, perfectly fine job, Ty West. I approve. 6.5 out of 10. So, we've made it to the middle ground. The rest of the segments on the list are overall good. If your segment made it to this section of the list, congratulations. You made a standard VHS short. You understand what this franchise is about, and have provided much enjoyment to yours truly. Without further ado, let's go. Or, let's get to it. Just cut to the next.
From the moment I understood the weakness of my flesh, it disgusted me.
So, the subject is kinda overrated. Not bad, just not as good as people say. Let's start with positives. God, it is so messed up watching this doctor experiment on innocent people, permanently mangling their bodies, twisting them into a fate worse than death. Also, I really love how instead of arresting the doctor, they just flat out execute him and film it. That was pretty funny. And the acting in this one, oh my god, from the creator to Captain Hassan, everyone in this one brought their A game. Well, apart from this guy, who occasionally sounds like a cartoon character. But I'll just jot it down as a language barrier. I really appreciate how this is a segment with absolutely no filler. Every frame, every line, every noise is engaging. This VHS segment, honestly, would be really close to perfect, if not for just one glaring problem: the budget. Unfortunately, this segment suffers heavily from biting off more than it can chew, financially speaking. The male robot, who we'll just call Samurai, suffers especially, with his close-up shot looking like he was pulled straight out of the Terminator Salvation arcade game. Some of his kills are a bit choppy too, especially if you zoom in. It really sucks because honestly, we don't spend much time with Samurai, and I wish we did, but I also feel like any other scenes with him wouldn't look much better than these. The female robot, let's call her Gun Girl, fares a bit better, I'll say, apart from this shot where you can clearly see the officer react a second too late to being riddled with bullets. But once she starts fighting the whole group of SWAT officers, it's well, it's not the worst thing it could have been. I will say it's pretty wild. Like the grenade going in that guy's abdomen, the bullets firing everywhere, all of the pew 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 pew, and the pipe, the fucking pipe. The pipe kill was alright, but the sound design, so perfect. While the Samurai doesn't always look good, he sounds intimidating as hell. And the jolted voice of the gun girl, her distorted battle cry as she starts mowing people down, chef's kiss. Just immaculate. I'm not a huge fan of the ending. Like, come on, you have two cyborg monsters here and you don't have them fight each other? Come to think of it, they barely even interact with each other throughout the entire short, which is kind of weird. While this segment admittedly has some lower lows than the ones ranked below it, it does make up for it by having some high highs. Now, these highs are admittedly not as high as they could have been, but they're still highs, I guess. So yeah, good job, Timo Gianto. You know you did pretty good when the main complaint is you weren't given enough money. 7 out of 10. Man, I'm really curious as to what a VHS segment from this director would look like if he had been given a bigger budget. Well, I guess we'll never know. Alright, moving on.
But I did kidnap his wife!
Oh no! Oh shit!
Okay, I'm just gonna say it. Ozzy's Dungeon is good, not great. Hold on, hear me out. The show, Ozzy's Dungeon, is awesome. It's nostalgic, vibrant, and just the right amount of campy. Plus, Stephen Ogg is incredible as the host. He's charismatic and a great addition to the movie. The idea of a fake game show for a segment is perfect. I love how things slowly get a tad bit more uneasy as we go on, until finally, BAM! Or snap! Donna just up and breaks her freaking leg. The gore is great, the host's one-liners are great, the mixed reactions from the audience are really great, and then we reveal that we've been watching from a TV this whole time, and we see that the host has been kidnapped by Donna's family, and honestly, this is where the short loses me. I mean, I love watching an almost naked Stephen Ogg crawl through human waste as much as the next guy, which, you know, is not a sentence I ever thought I would say. But come on, man. The stuff before was so much better. Like, this is good, but I really, really like this. Imagine with me, if you will, an alternate version of this segment. One that is entirely just the game show. We watch Donna progress through the whole game. Meanwhile, kids are being horrifically injured left and right. And the host and the audience are just laughing it off casually. Now, throughout the whole show, Donna has been trying to tell the audience what her wish is going to be, but is constantly cut off by either the host or her mom or something else. We see that her parents are clearly just using her to make it big and get rich. Then, finally, Donna wins. We get the whole wish scene from the original, but instead of just killing the family, it wreaks havoc on the entire studio, causing pure pandemonium. A nearby camera falls over and freezes on Donna's crooked smile. And then it cuts off. That would have been awesome as shit. Now, I'm not sure if you'd rather watch that than see someone shove raw chicken in a man's mouth, but hey, to each their own. I'm just saying what I thought would have been cool, but I'm not Flying Lotus, so clearly this is not my vision. But yeah, Ozzy's Dungeon has great acting, and an even greater premise. The fact that with a few changes this could have been one of the best segments in the entire franchise is a little disappointing, but it doesn't hold this short back too much. It is still a moderately enjoyable time, and I recommend it. 7 out of 10. Wow, I can't believe we got Stephen Ogg in the VHS franchise. What will they think of next?
It's a me. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up.
Dream Kill is above average. It's a pretty cool story, I guess. While I am a huge fan of Scott Derrickson's filmography, I have to admit I didn't find myself too attached to this one. It was still good, don't get me wrong. The murder scenes are incredibly effective, with great gore and disturbing visuals. But to me, this just didn't feel like a VHS segment, and more like a shortened plot of what could have just been a different movie. The acting's fine, and James Ransone is pretty good. The twist that he's the real killer is pretty cool, even though I wish they had hinted at it just a bit more. The dialogue was not the best, especially towards the end, where it feels a tad bit rushed. To be frank, I'm not a huge fan of the ending in general. It kinda just stops being scary and just turns into a gunfight, which was still fun to watch, but didn't really feel like it belonged in a movie like this. And I definitely don't like it when it cuts to the dream camera and it's just the most generic movie shots possible. That was kind of underwhelming. But at least with this time, they try to explain it with a reasonable explanation. Hey, how come when the gunfight's over and you killed the cops, you suddenly just forget that your son exists? Isn't he the whole reason you came there? You literally tell him that you're gonna kill him, and then you just turn your back to him? That's dumb. You are dumb. Your name should be Idiot Bob Stupid Pants, because you guessed it, you're dumb. Anyway, while the ending was very hit and miss, I still found myself somewhat pleased as I watched this monster-sized segment. 7 out of 10. Seriously though, why is this one so long? It's like a third of the movie. I know Scott Derrickson is cool and all, but did you really have to give him so much screen time? Techno God is like 2 minutes long, why not spare some time for them? Oh hey, speaking of which...
We have technology.
Techno God is pretty cool. It is short and simple, just like this review. I like how increasingly annoying the main lady gets as she, performs. I also like how the whole time she is egging on this god of technology, and then it actually shows up just to shut her up and leave. Very haha hee hee funny moment. Yep, Techno God is a pretty nice midpoint in VHS 85. It does not fail to entertain. Although, that being said, it could have been a bit better. I kinda wish it was a bit longer. Some more time spent on the actual monster instead of just watching this random lady blab about gods and shit would have been pretty cool. But overall, this is a nice, small addition to VHS 85's surprisingly consistent catalog. 7.25 out of 10.
My apartment's haunted.
The sick thing that happened to Emily when she was younger. More like the stupid thing that happened to stupid Emily when she was stupid. Anyway, this one's not bad. Taking place entirely on a Skype call, this one has a very unique effect to it. At least, it did at the time. Basically, the whole thing is this lady claims her apartment is haunted, and she's telling her boyfriend, who's at like medical school or something, and the boyfriend's like, "What? No, that's crazy. You're crazy." To put it frankly, this segment is essentially just gaslighting the film. Hell yeah. God, let me tell you, I wouldn't have been fooled as easily as this Emily character. What? You're telling me those noises I hear at night are nothing? Oh sure, dude. Oh, what's that? That little girl that just ran through my room was the wind? Okay, buddy. What? All of a sudden I shouldn't go digging in my arm with a kitchen utensil? Whatever you say, Fed. But in all seriousness, this one's pretty cool. There's definitely a big sense of mystery throughout it, which I like. The twist that the boyfriend has been there the whole time and is experimenting on her as an alien incubator is messed up. And I'm aware that pretty much none of the VHS segments have exactly happy endings, but man, this one does not have a happy ending. I just can't help but feel bad for Emily by the time this is all over. Girl cannot catch a break. Except for when she did. But while this film does many things right, there are a few things holding it back from getting a higher ranking. Like, I feel like a few of the scenes could have used another take, plus the twist can come off just a bit too vague, seeing how it took me a few rewatches to even understand it. But overall, this segment is a good addition to the first movie, and fits in well tonally and thematically. So yeah, pretty cool segment. 7.25 out of 10. Oh, and one more thing. It was knocked down a few pegs in the ranking simply because of the name alone. I mean, come on, Joe Swanberg. This was the best possible name you could come up with. It sounds like the beginning of a progressively worse meme. I mean, what was your other choice? The mortifying event that transpired during Emily's juvenile years? Okay, I don't know where I'm going with this, so let's just move on.
Well, I'm dead.
Okay, guys. The Empty Wake is pretty epic. I'm a man of slow burns, and baby, this is as slow burn as it gets. Well, besides a few others, but we'll get to them later. I really enjoy how simple the plot is. Lady is watching a coffin. The coffin starts moving. Lady finds out man died in some kind of demonic ritual. Guy breaks out of coffin. Lady hides, gets found, tornado. Okay, maybe simple isn't the right word. There's really not much to say here, except that I like it. The practical effects are great. The acting is good. The shot where the tornado comes crashing through the room is awesome. I will say the dialogue in this one is not amazing, with some characters just spouting blatant exposition and then leaving, but for the most part, it's not bad enough to take you out of the film. So yeah, 7.25 out of 10. Simon Barrett, you did a good job. Just maybe hire a different writer next time. Okay, moving on.
Take him to Detroit.
No! No, not Detroit! No! No, please!
Terror holds a soft spot in my heart. which is a weird thing to say about a film where a bunch of terrorists get eaten alive by a vampire. I just love the concept of this segment. A bunch of quote-unquote freedom fighters holding a vampire hostage and harvesting his blood to blow up a federal building is such a batshit idea for a plot, and I'm all for it. The acting in this one is great, especially Christian Lloyd as Greg. I loved watching any scene where this absolute psychopathic man-child tried to come off as heroic or intimidating in front of his moronic comrades. Also, this death stare goes hard. I love how for pretty much the whole first half, the whole group does its best to look tough and ready for battle, but the second that hits the fan, they fucking crumble like paper. It feels so good to watch them get their comeuppance to the monster they had chained up and tortured for so long. Speaking of which, this vampire's design is fucking amazing. When I first saw this thing appear on screen, I audibly yelled, "Holy shit." Just to be clear, I don't usually do that. His gaping mouth and lines of sharp teeth are so cool, man. And how about this camera quality? Now, I'm a sucker for intentionally poor camera quality, and this segment just takes the cake. God, there are just so many things this segment gets right. That being said, it's not perfect. It does leave the audience confused for quite a bit before it reveals the whole vampire shtick, but once you figure out what's going on, it is quite a ride. Plus, while I love the vampire, I really wish we had seen more of him. I'm also not a huge fan of how the vampire ends up being freed, although it's definitely in character for them to get drunk and leave his cage open. Part of me wishes that the vampire had crafted his own way out of his cell, but then again, that probably would have distracted from the theme of these wannabe soldiers thinking they're ready to face anything the world throws at them, then getting demolished the second they are faced with an actual conflict. Overall, I am quite a fan of Terror, and find it to be a very fitting finale to a very good movie. 7.5 out of 10. Thank you, Ryan Prowse. Very cool. Okay, I really like Total Copy. This wraparound story looks like it was pulled straight out of the 80s, especially the creature design. God, this thing looks nightmarish and campy at the same time. How is that even possible? I just wish I had footage of it. Anyway, David Bruckner does an amazing job taking us back to 1985 and making us believe that all of what we're watching is just taped over each other on one VHS tape. But back to the monster. God, this monster looks so fucking wicked. Why is VHS so good at making some of the goofiest shit look and feel scary? The gore is, while brief, very effective. The acting is well done, and this camera quality is just epic. All in all, Total Copy is a perfect wraparound segment for VHS 85. It would be higher on the list if it was just a bit longer, but still, it has a very entertaining setup and a very good payoff. 7.75 out of 10.
What does claustrophobic mean?
It means he's afraid of Santa Claus.
No, it doesn't.
Ho, ho, ho!
Stop it, Patrick, you're scaring him!
I shouldn't love VHS 99 as much as I do. It's strange, really, how much I adore this specific entry into the franchise. But guys, come on, it's just so fun to watch. Even its weakest part, To Hell and Back, which I ranked admittedly pretty low, can be a really fun time in the right crowd. It's admittedly quite different from its predecessors, with a bit of a lighter tone most of the time. While I can understand why that would be disappointing to some people, I personally am all for it. I once read a comment somewhere that described VHS 99 as Goosebumps for adults, and I just think that's a perfect comparison. This movie is literally like if someone remade 5 Goosebumps episodes from the 90s and just added a bunch of gore and swear words to it. And poop. But none of the segments capture that 90s camp energy more than Suicide Bid. I think we all know that familiar trope. Loser with only one friend wants to join the cool kids club, and in doing so, goes somewhere that's supposedly haunted just to impress them. The cool kids all turn out to be a bunch of jerks, and the loser realizes the importance of friendship and lives on to, oh sh**, never mind. This segment captures this type of story perfectly. With the sorority, the creepy tale about guillotine, the box of spiders, the rain, the monster, the sorority girls' eventual comeuppance. Damn, it just does so much right. Not to mention Ali Loanitis' amazing performance as Lily. She does an excellent job making us feel trapped in the coffin with her. and her commitment to the role is impressive. Put a finger down if you'd let a spider crawl over your face for a movie. Yeah, I thought so. This segment is overall awesome, although I will admit it does have its share of weak points. There are multiple times where Lily is angling the camera at all the stuff happening around her, and then showing the camera her reaction, which I understand why the movie had to do that, but like, why would Lily do that? Plus, the first scene where we are introduced to Guillotine kinda just looks like a guy put a Spirit Halloween mask on his hand and then waved it through a window. Waved it through a window. Waved it through a window. He waved it through. But while these issues are noticeable, they are really just minor grievances I had with the short. Regardless of its few shortcomings, Suicide Bid is a great addition to VHS 99 and the franchise as a whole. 7.75 out of 10. My condolences to the family of the Spider, who gave his life so that this movie could happen. He will be missed.
Got more problems for a troubled
Earthquake.
singer. Yep,
We're
we got
having an earthquake.
God of Death could have been so much better, but it's still really good. This short is pure chaos incarnate and I love it. The acting, characters, set pieces, gore, and monster are all so fucking good. It all adds up to an incredibly terrorizing experience. I know I say this a lot, but man, the sound design is just so good. Especially when the big bad is revealed and we get all the whoo-hoo! It gave me a few minor chills, respectfully. All those things being said, there was still some room for improvement. For one, I kinda wish Mid-Clan had been foreshadowed a little bit before all the madness started, because he kinda just comes out of nowhere, unless you overanalyze the trailer like I did. Also, part of me wishes that the reporter lady had been more pivotal to the plot. When the characters started talking about her big debut, I kinda thought she was gonna do something. Imagine with me, if you will, a world where God of Death is slightly altered. Before the disaster, we hear someone mention that Gabriella is of native descent, or something, I don't know, something that relates her to the monster. Then, once the earthquake happens, we see it from two perspectives, one from Luis, and the other from Gabriella's cameraman. They both show horrific events caused by this natural disaster. Gabriella convinces her cameraman to follow her deeper into the earthquake, either for a great news story, or because she's worried about Luis, I don't know, take your pick. The two of them eventually meet up with Luis and the crew, and we see all of the same stuff, but this time from two angles. Eventually, the cameraman gets separated. Not killed, just separated, and all of the disaster crew members die, leaving Luis and Gabriella. Then, when Luis isn't looking, Gabriella rips his heart out, and turns out to be working with Mid-Clan. We see the whole Mid-Clan rise scene, but with Gabriella instead of Carla. Then we cut back to the cameraman, who has miraculously made it out of the building alive. He suddenly finds Gabriella completely unharmed, like there's not even dust on her. Her cameraman asks her if she's okay, and where everyone else is, and all that. Gabriella stares at her cameraman with a blank expression, and then slowly asks if he's still filming. We then cut to the original ending, which within this new context would be much more creepy. We end on Gabriella saying this will be a day to remember. Then the short begins glitching out, but right before it glitches out completely, at the very last second, we see Gabriella smiling into the camera, right before it cuts away. Jesus, that ended up being a far longer tangent than I thought it would. Basically, all my minor problems with this short would have been solved if, you guessed it, it was just a bit longer. Seriously, why did Dreamkill get all of the spotlight in VHS 85? God of Death had more potential by far. Like, not to shit on Dreamkill, it's still good, but like, God of Death just has way more stuff going for it. Like, it could have genuinely been as good as a certain other VHS segment about an evil deity. But anyway, regardless of what I've said, God of Death is still a very fun time. 7.75 out of 10. God, this one was a nightmare to record. Aw yeah, baby, this is what it's all about. We have now made it to the top 10 best segments of the entire franchise. This is VHS in its truest form, showing the best of what these movies can offer to viewers. With plenty of creepy scenes, gore, well-written characters, creative monsters, great acting, and just the perfect hint of goofy. These films are why I fell in love with VHS so long ago, and will continue to love it until the end of my days. Okay, enough beating around the bush. Without further ado, let's explore the top 10 greatest VHS segments of all time.
Ooh, a gun! Ooh, Ooh, a gun!
Okay, so maybe it's a little unfair putting Tape 49 this high in the list. But man, it's just so efficient. It takes the wraparound concept from the first movie and improves it in every way. The characters are better. The motivation is better. The set is better. The monster guy is better. The story in general is just so much better. I always love seeing Aisha's slow descent into psycho killer zombie mode as I'm watching VHS 2. It's honestly pretty cool to watch, and while the acting is not perfect, it's still pretty solid. I also love the ending where Aisha attacks Larry and his almost immediate reaction is to snap her neck with his bare hands. It's just so fucking wild. With that said, I do kinda wish he hadn't just hid in the closet like a dumb, stupid, moron, idiot head face. I think it would have been pretty cool if instead Aisha and Kyle chased him around the house a little bit. Or hell, maybe Aisha kills Larry and we get a creepy scene of her and Kyle just standing over his corpse or something. I don't know. I just don't like the whole closet shtick that much. Except the part where he shoots Aisha. That was epic. So yeah, Simon Barrett, this was a good one. I likey. 8 out of 10. Oh my god, Mike. What are you doing, man? Why are you riding your bike when you could be riding your girl, man? What? Next you're gonna tell me you're a dubstep fan. Oh, come on! Do you hate your girlfriend and your ears? Anyway, A Ride in the Park is really good. I am very surprised it took as long as it did to get a mainstream film where a zombie has a GoPro on his head. It's such a simple but great idea. There's admittedly not much to say about most of this one's plot, other than the fact that it is a very good time. We see a bunch of zombie shenanigans, and it is very awesome. Even as a guy who's not usually a zombie fan, I enjoyed it. The climax at the kid's birthday party is very fun, even though the humans make some of the stupidest decisions in the entire franchise. Why are you filming? Just run, my man. Watch your flank, soldier. You always gotta watch your flank, even I know that. Huh. Are you people by chance related to Wendy? Everything is very standard so far, you know, very cool, very 7 out of 10. Until we see the zombie's reflection. We see the zombie feel his own face, his own mangled face. After all of the madness he has caused, for a brief moment, his humanity comes back, and he ponders what he has done, what he has turned into. He wonders if it's possible to change, or if it's possible to take back the misery he has brought upon. Oh shit, we back to zombie mode, never mind. Wonder what that was all about. Anyway, time to feed on more flesh. Huh, what is that noise? Is that? Oh no. It is genuinely heartbreaking listening to Amy talk to Mike on the phone, unaware of what he has become. And it's even more heartbreaking hearing Mike's sad little zombie groans as the full realization of what has happened to him fully weighs upon his mind. Before he loses control again, we watch as Mike crawls over to the shotgun, knowing there's only way to stop himself from hurting any more people. He slowly puts the gun muzzle in his mouth. He then takes one last look at the beautiful nature around him before he pulls the trigger and takes his own life. Holy shit, man. I thought this was just gonna be a goofy zombie segment. What kind of existential shit did you just put on me? This ending easily puts A Ride in the Park from a 7 out of 10 to a solid 8 out of 10. Excellent job, Eduardo Sanchez and Greg Hale. This, without a doubt, goes down as a classic in the VHS franchise. Moral of the story, boys? Next time, just f*** your girlfriend.
Well, I'm dead.
I've had a pretty complicated relationship with No Wake. When I first watched it, I was pretty unhappy with it, for obvious reasons. I thought this was just where it ended, and I felt rightfully unsatisfied with this conclusion. You know, initially I was like, man, Mike P. Nelson can't write an ending to save his life. But then, I kept watching the movie and I really liked it. This segment does a great job combining the eeriness of the supernatural and the very real evil of this sadistic family. Also, yes, I'm counting both No Wake and Ambrosia as one segment. Neither of them are nearly as good without the other. The acting in this one is really underrated in my opinion. All of the people in the RV, while they are a bit cliche, they feel so human. Then there's the Wrigleys, who are so delightfully evil that they're actually fun to watch. I loved the scene where they are just casually talking about how each of them murdered a bunch of random people. Ruth stands out especially as a very entertaining villain. I really appreciate how this is the one segment from VHS 85 with like actual foreshadowing. Things like the dead squirrel and the squirt gun are really good ways of hinting at future plot points. Pretty cool. And while I love how most of the VHS segments have pretty depressing and unhappy endings, it's actually a nice change of pace to have an ending that's just bittersweet. I hear a lot of people say that it ends way too fast, but I disagree. Ruth's entire goal was to suicide by cop, and thanks to the boaters, she failed that goal and got her comeuppance. Also, I like how the ending kind of leaves Ruth's fate to the imagination. I mean, there are 2 separate tapes of her murdering people, so best case scenario, she is rotting in prison, living with the shame of disgracing her family. Worst case scenario, maybe the government took her and is conducting painful experiments on her body as we speak. Either way, things don't look good for her. But yeah, No Wake is a fun story and a really good subversion of the VHS story format. 8 out of 10.
This is the House of Horrors!
Thank you, 103198. Thank you for having the hardest name to memorize in the entire franchise. I really appreciated having to look up your name on Wikipedia every time I wanted to talk about you because I forgot what stupid ass numbers were in your title. That was really cool. Anyway, this segment is really good. This film is without a doubt a perfect finale to the first VHS movie. It's got arguably the highest stakes, seeing as it involves a literal demonic exorcism. Plus, I really enjoy the chemistry between the 4 leads in this one. I would totally believe that these 4 guys are friends in real life if you told me. Also, the fact that this whole thing happened simply because they can't read a map is pretty silly, and I like that. It's got some good foreshadowing too, with the hands reaching out being mentioned far before it actually appears on screen. Also, I'm glad they showed the train tracks beforehand. That was good world building. And then there's the climax where everything just goes f***ing ballistic. God, what a fun ride. I will admit that some of the visuals are a little dated, but it's still very entertaining. So yeah, I gotta be honest, it's kind of hard to describe this one's quality. You sort of just have to watch it in order to understand how good it really is. I, for one, have watched it and can confidently say it is an 8.5 out of 10. Good job, radio silence. Why would you want your radio to be silent? Then it wouldn't work. Am I right, guys?
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
There's someone at your door.
Slumber Party Alien Abduction is a very straightforward segment. There is a slumber party, there is an alien abduction. What more could you need? Again, not much to say about this one. It's just really good. The aliens are good, the sound design is good, the characters are pretty funny for the most part. They can get annoying at times, but not to the point where it's draining. But yeah, I honestly don't know what else to say. It's straight up just really good. It's a great finale to VHS 2. It's nice to wrap up with something a bit on the simpler side after the major shit that goes on in the tape before it, which we'll get to later. 8.5 out of 10. Again, sorry I don't really have much to say about this one, but I still recognize the quality here. Good job, Jason Eisner. Very epic.
I'm a snake. I'm a slithery little sneaky snake.
Gentlemen, when I look at you, I see some of the greatest found footage movies to ever exist. Is that you, Viral? You're a real lazy piece of shit. Anyway, The Gawkers is awesome. And when I say it's awesome, I mean all of it is awesome. From what I've seen from other rankings, I never hear anyone talk about the stop motion wraparound segments. That's right. In case you all forgot, this is a wraparound segment. This is VHS 99's biggest enigma by far. These stop motions are so dumb, but I just love them. Somehow, they just work. There is no better feeling than having just finished Shredding or Suicide Bid, both of which have pretty f***ed up endings, and then just cutting to a bunch of toy army soldiers getting massacred by either a paper pterodactyl or whatever the f*** this is. But yeah, these little stop motion shorts are great, and I wish people brought them up more. Watching Johnson hijack a tank and run over his fellow brothers in arms is peak cinema. Okay, now for the rest of Gawkers. Once again, we have a group of leads with great chemistry. These guys somehow make some of the creepiest behavior I've ever seen look funny and silly. And there are so many unironically good jokes in this segment that me and my friends were laughing almost the whole time. The part where they called 911 to call about a lady with snakes on her head, and the operator says, "How many snakes, sir?" is one of the funniest parts in the entire franchise. Now, you may be thinking, okay, well, if it's this funny, surely it's not scary, right? Well, yeah, a little bit. Honestly, while I laughed at this one quite a bit, I was also pretty creeped out at times. Shots like when Sandra, aka Medusa, is looking dead at them through her window, or at the ending when she slowly walks towards the camera after having massacred the group of teenagers, are genuinely pretty creepy. Plus, like always, the sound design is just on point here. The actors' screams, especially when shit starts going down, really sell the fear for me. And how about this concept? Talk about modernizing a classic movie monster. It also feels in a way like an homage to an earlier segment in this franchise, which we'll get to later. But in conclusion, this segment is a perfect wraparound for 99, and would have been a perfect ending had it been put last, which it honestly should have been. Like, for real, how did the filmmakers think that To Hell and Back was a more fitting ending to the movie than this? But regardless of that, this segment is still an extremely fun watch, and is without a doubt the best wraparound story in the entire franchise. 9 out of 10.
You guys just bought yourself a one-way ticket to the fake rockstar underworld!
Let's see, where did I put that script? Oh, there we go. I shouldn't love VHS 99 as much as I do. So let me get this straight. You think shredding is one of the best segments in all of VHS? I do, and I'm tired of pretending it's not. I have been hearing people spread these lies for a year now, and I am sick of it. I am sick of all of this slander. Wrong. All of you were wrong. Shredding is one of the greatest segments in all of VHS, and I refuse to believe anything different. I just don't get it. Is it all a goof? Are you all just trying to yank my chain? There's no way that this many people are failing to see the true gem that shredding is. Honestly, I can make a whole video on how VHS 99 in general is underrated, but for the purpose of this video, I'll try to keep it small. First of all, the acting is great. Not perfect, but great. The chemistry between the four leads is some of the best in the entire franchise. Sure, the characters themselves are complete assholes, but they're acted out so well by Jesse LaTourette, Jackson Kelly, Dashiell Derrickson, and I'm not even gonna try that one, but good job. And then there's Bitch Cat. We only see them for 2 minutes, and they managed to capture the entire punk rock era in such a small time. Is their dialogue a little cliche? Maybe, but that's the point. I don't think people understand that this movie is intentionally goofy and blunt. It is capturing the fun and campiness of horror movies and shows from the 90s. Regardless, these characters are still eye-catching and fun. I am such a fan of the climax of this segment. This shot here was my most anticipated part of the entire trailer. I saw this and went, oh damn, it's gonna go down whenever this scene happens. And believe me, went down. The design of the monsters are amazing. While they seem simple at first glance, they're so intricately detailed when you give them another look. And that ending shot, oh mama, that was kind of weird. But anyway, yeah, this ending shot is fucking awesome. There are so many different ways to interpret this ending. Is the band just mangling their dead bodies? Or are they being controlled by the band like puppets, trapped in their bodies and condemned to a fate worse than death? It's just so fun to think about. I just don't get it. How is this segment not talked about more? I just don't get it. Obviously, if you don't like it, that's perfectly fine. It's not for everyone. But I think most people give this one a bad rap just because they don't like the characters. And that's really a shame. I don't think they realize that you are supposed to hate these characters. They are a bunch of dumb teenagers who play stupid games and win stupid prizes. Again, it's like Goosebumps, but with incredible heaps of violence. I will say it's not 100% perfect, with some of the props looking not great. I mean, not terrible either, but not great. Plus, I don't really get the point of this scene with Anker supposedly killing one of the band members, if he just ends up with the same fate as the others anyway. But besides that, this segment is absolutely one of the greats. Thank you, Maggie Levin, for making such an entertaining masterpiece of a segment. One that captures the true heart of what VHS is all about. 9 out of 10. God, I can't get over how much of a blast VHS 99 is. In what other movie can you watch a group of teenagers being ripped apart by an undead rock band, as well as see a bunch of toy soldiers get messed up by some sort of rat monster? Wait a minute. Rat monster?
Oh shoot, it's a rat.
Storm Drain is VHS. I will say it again. Storm Drain is VHS. What do I mean by that? Everything about Storm Drain is what VHS should be. Everything is perfect from beginning to end. It has a good setting, creepy foreshadowing, weird characters, bad characters, intense gore, and one of the best original cryptids of this century. Ratma has got to be one of the greatest creature designs I have ever seen. Its partly human body and horrifying screeches are unforgettable to the human mind. I also love how much this short makes you question whether Ratma is even real. There were many instances where I was made to believe that it was all just a hoax orchestrated by a bunch of homeless people. Until that reveal shot came in, oh baby, any doubts I held on to were released. Along with everything in my bladder. Like I said, this segment is VHS. The creepy sewer is VHS. The cult of homeless people is VHS. Ratma is VHS. Ratma is iconic. I cannot count how many times me and my friends reference Ratma on a daily basis. It has just stuck with us so much, and I love it for that. There's really not much else to say, and there doesn't need to be. It earns its spot as the best segment from '94 and the third best segment in the entire franchise. 9.5 out of 10. And say it with me, everybody. Hail Ratma. Why the fuck did none of you say it with me? Now I feel like an idiot.
When it comes to one-year-old Dante, Pierre, you are the father.
Wow. Just wow. What can I say about Safe Haven that hasn't already been said? It's just so flawless. This is one of the best portrayals of a psychotic, devil-worshipping cult I have ever seen. Especially the actor who plays Father. God, every scene with him is bone-chilling. In fact, everyone here is just doing so good at acting, it's crazy. There isn't a single character in this segment that is not portrayed perfectly by their actor or actress. Oh my god, and the foreshadowing is so on point here. Somehow the segment with people blowing up and Satan bursting out of a woman's stomach is one of the most subtle segments in the entire franchise, with Lena and Malik's struggling relationship shown so well through such simple acting choices. Trying to guess the plot points before they happen is so fun, and that climax, man, holy shit. Every single time I watch this segment, I audibly yell at Adam to get the fuck out of there. And there are so many cool shots that I could go on about for hours. Like this one, the implication that this cult member is still conscious and is, let's just say, not liking his current situation is just so perfect to me. And holy cow, what an ending. I really love how we don't know for certain whether or not Adam dies here. For all we know, he went on to become the ruler of hell or something, but since the film ends the way it does, all we can do is guess, and there's no other way I'd rather have it. I've heard some people say that the final reveal of the monster is not very good, and while I understand where they're coming from, I feel like it was either this or something completely CGI, which probably would have looked nightmarish and not in a good way. I feel like people also say this segment is the face of VHS. While I can totally see why people would think that, I think Storm Drain is a much better face of the franchise, but only because I think people should go into Safe Haven knowing nothing about it. The best way to experience this perfectly made bundle of chaos is by going in completely blind. So yeah, this segment is without a doubt a perfect film, and without a doubt, the best film of VHS 2. 10 out of 10. Though, no matter how perfect this segment is, there is still one more segment we haven't talked about, which is even more perfect. And we will talk about it right now.
What happened last night? Oh my goodness!
VHS is my favorite franchise of all time. There are so many unforgettable moments throughout it that will stick with me forever. These movies helped me become the man I am today, helped me create lasting bonds with others, and I am forever grateful for their existence. That being said, there is one slight problem that I've had with the movies ever since I watched them. Just one little detail that irks me to this day. Just one minor issue that I can't get out of my head. That issue is that this franchise peaked immediately. Because Amateur Night is 100% the best segment in the entire franchise. I cannot get over how great this short is. From the pacing, to the characters, the foreshadowing, the gore, the scares, the monster design. Oh my god, this lady looks so creepy. Hannah Fearman is so good as the succubus. Her line delivery and her mannerisms make this segment what it is. And don't even get me started on how scary this fucking thing is. These actors do an amazing job selling the fear and terror of their situation. Upon first watch, this segment made my 14-year-old self actually scared that succubus monster ladies would be a real problem for me in my future. Just to be clear, I don't usually worry about that. David Bruckner crafts a beautifully terrifying segment that chills you to your core and keeps you on the edge of your fucking seat. And the ending is so bad crazy that I can't not mention it. We don't even know where the succubus is taking our camera guy. His fate is left to our imagination, and I could not think of a more perfect way to leave it off. Thank you, David Bruckner, for creating such a terrifying, crazy, and just overall amazing segment. And while Ratma is still in my eyes the face of VHS, and Safe Haven is probably the more well-regarded perfect segment, for me, Amateur Night tops both of them in every single way. 11 out of 10. So, here we are, the end. We've covered every single VHS segment in the franchise. We've had some low lows, but even higher highs. I hope you find my ranking fair, but if you don't, that's okay. Thank you for joining me through this journey, through some of my all-time favorite movies, and, later.